Now I want to spend a little bit of time summarizing some of the ideas that I've talked about in the previous videos related to suggestion. And the first thing that I want to mention is this: suggestive therapy does not need to be complex. You saw in the case of doing an impromptu set of suggestions with Sheila, it actually is fairly easy to come up with multiple suggestions, both indirect as well as direct. One of the things I want to alleviate, though, in your mind is the idea that the suggestions must be perfect. They don't need to be perfect. The subconscious mind is intuitive. Milton Erickson's idea that we have all of the resources within us already in order to experience success. And even if we say a word wrong or get a suggestion wrong, the reality is our client finds the process probably far more valuable than any individual suggestion. I've also said many times, if the only thing we ever did with clients was a skill building induction, a deepening technique, and gave them the opportunity to learn skills that help them to reduce stress, to put some space between them and their thoughts, and then did a re-emerging or an awakening process. In other words, dispensed with the suggestions altogether, that would be incredibly valuable to the vast majority of the clients who I work with. I was talking to a therapist in Austin not too long ago, and he was talking about what really clients' needs are. And their number one need in most cases is to simply relax, both physically and mentally, to put some physical relaxation into play in our busy world, and to put some space between them and their thoughts, mental relaxation. That in and of itself is therapeutic. That in and of itself produces change. That in and of itself is really magic. Now, when we add, of course, thought out suggestions, that is, of course, a lengthier process, and that is really the complete process. So let me talk about some other suggestions now. I've covered many of them in the previous couple of videos, but I want to share with you that suggestions can be given to multiple clients with multiple issues and really just adapted to them. So, for example, one of my favorite suggestions is this. I have a Fitbit here, okay? And today I'm at 8,018 steps. So what this is it's a pedometer, and it actually counts my steps. And my goal, of course, is to take at least 10,000 steps each and every day. By the way, since I bought the Fitbit, every single day I've hit 10,000 steps. Because at 9 o'clock at night, if I haven't gotten there yet, I go for a big, long walk around the neighborhood to make sure I actually get there. I give this suggestion to my clients all the time. By the way, I now recommend they get a Fitbit or some type of a wrist pedometer. But back in the day, I used to actually buy pedometers that would clip on a belt, and I would have them in my office. And I would give this suggestion: that you'll take more steps, that you'll wear the pedometer each and every day. You'll take more steps today than yesterday, more steps tomorrow than today, increasing your steps to 10,000 steps each day. Now, there are also phone apps. A person doesn't even need to buy a Fitbit or a pedometer. You can actually get a pedometer on your phone. You can download a free app, and it'll count the steps as long as you have your phone on you. And so almost everybody has access to this. Now, that's a suggestion to increase physical activity. Obviously, for weight loss clients, that would be a great suggestion. It would be a great suggestion, though, for clients post-surgical recovery who have been instructed to begin to engage in daily activity or physical activity. I just actually came from dinner before making this video with a good friend of mine. He was actually a mentor of mine. I did my graduate school internship with him, so that was almost 30 years ago. And we've remained friends all of this time. And we just had dinner together tonight, and he's been recovering from cancer. In fact, we were celebrating tonight because he was deemed cancer-free after radiation and chemotherapy and multiple treatments. By the way, I had given him my cancer resource series. He found the audio CD for chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting to be particularly useful. He found the MP3 that comes with that series on sleep and rest to be particularly useful, one on anxiety. There are a lot of different applications in medical hypnosis. But, we were talking earlier tonight, just about experiences that clients have and the successes that they have in life. And he is somebody who I suggested to him, I'm going to buy you a Fitbit. That's what I told him, so that you can begin walking every day. Now his goal is going to be 1,000 steps a day. He's been in pretty bad health. He's had multiple complications, multiple surgeries, but just even walking from his house to the end of the street and back is going to be something that's going to be significant for him. So that suggestion is useful for post-surgical clients. It's useful for stress management. In fact, as I've been using my Fitbit and walking, I notice that my emotional health is simply better. My anxiety is decreased. My depression is lessened. Any significant stressors that I've had in life, I seem to be able to handle a little bit better. And I've always said that we can only function emotionally as well as we are physically. So that's an example of sort of what I call a universal suggestion. It's great for lots of different people, and we can give it to multiple clients, adapting it to their particular scenarios and situations. One of my other favorite universal suggestions is this. I began using this with smokers. I would say to my client, during my smoking cessation sessions with them, I would say, and over the next couple of days, you might find yourself forgetting to remember to smoke. Or in some cases, remembering to forget to smoke. Either way, of course, is fine. What's most important is that you'll continue to breathe in fresh air and derive your energy from oxygen rather than from nicotine. Now that's, again, a very specific suggestion that I give to smokers, but that can be adapted to many different types of clients again. We would simply substitute, nicotine and oxygen for whatever the scenario was with my client. Do they need to forget to remember their anxiety or remember to forget their anxiety? Or do they need to forget to remember to eat dessert, or do they need to remember to forget to eat dessert? By the way, that language pattern, remember to forget, forget to remember, that is confusion. And confusion is great because it disengages the conscious mind and allows the subconscious mind simply to attach any meaning to the process that is important. So I mentioned earlier Corey Hammond's book, The Handbook of Hypnotic Suggestions and Metaphors. It's a book that's considered to be a classic. There are many other good books, though, as well. In fact, some books that I might recommend for really developing your talents in regards to creating suggestions. George Gaffner, Gafner, he's got a book titled A Handbook of Clinical Hypnosis. And the first third of the book is how to do hypnosis, and the last 2/3 of the book are really suggestions in hypnotherapy. I wrote a book. It's titled, profoundly enough, Richard Nongard's Big Book of Hypnosis Scripts. Lots of direct and indirect suggestions here. My friend John Cerbone is a hypnotist in New York City. He's written a couple of script books, and both of his books, John Cerbone's book, Cerbone, are excellent books. He has a communication style completely different than mine, but his suggestions are so wonderful and empowering. And he wrote a book titled Hypnotic Scripts That Work, and he's got what he calls session optimizing suggestions. I think there are about 50 of them in there. And they are, again, these universal suggestions that can be given. And so his book is one that I highly recommend as well. Now, anytime I use somebody else's script book, though, what I always do is I go through it long before I ever see a client, and I cross out the lines that I don't like or that I disagree with. And I circle the ones that are awesome, and I highlight the ones I definitely want to use. And the idea here in suggestion is to craft a way to make these suggestions that have come to us through the tradition of various teachers in hypnosis and make them your own, so that you can deliver them with power and conviction and with confidence. But you have right here in this course already a set of skills to begin building and working towards success. In the ICBCH Advanced course, one of the learning modules is on medical hypnotherapy, and it has a book that I wrote titled Medical Hypnotherapy that has numerous scripts and numerous suggestions for medical clients. Again, another resource for you. And the other thing I want you to take advantage of is our internet forum. I haven't really mentioned it throughout the videos, although it is mentioned on this webpage. If you have any questions or you want any ideas or feedback, you're meeting with a client and you wonder, what are some additional suggestions I could utilize? post in our online social media forum. The way to get there is simply www.icbchgroup.com, or you can click the banner down at the bottom that says the ICBCH social media group, and join our group and ask questions. At the current time, there are almost 4,000 members of that group, many of whom have taken this course or a previous incarnation of this course, and they were more than happy to help you. And I post each and every day on that forum, and I often chime in with answers as well. And so that's another great resource for you as you really hone in on creating suggestion. But recognize that the ritual ratifies the change that many places in many ways has already taken place, and there's value in hypnosis in the process itself, even if we're not doing advanced suggestive therapy. Again, these are tools, these are resources for you, and I look forward to building on this in the next couple of videos.